Hi everyone, Antoinette here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about what introverts wish their leaders knew. If you're a leader and you have some introverts on your team, there may be some misunderstandings because of their quiet nature, their reserved communication style. You may be misunderstanding them and you may be thinking, well, if the introvert wants me to know these things, why don't they just tell me? Because they're introverted. They're not going to tell you these things. However, once you recognize these 5 things and you start leading introverts, keeping these in mind, it will make you a better leader with your introverted teams. And number 5 is probably going to be the one that surprises you the most. The first thing that introverts wish their leaders knew is just because they're quiet, reserved, and sometimes completely silent in a meeting does not mean that they're not engaged. It doesn't mean that they don't have any opinions or thoughts on what is being discussed. Think about it. It's natural to give the attention to the people who are doing the talking, who are always interjecting, who are always initiating their ideas. We all do that. That's where we turn our attention to. It's easy to forget about the people who are quiet in a meeting, but remember, they have ideas as well. As an attorney client once told me, there is a lot of wisdom behind tight lips. If it's a meeting, whether it's in person or virtual, give the introvert a heads up and let them know that you want to hear their input or their questions or their concerns. What you do in this situation is you call on an extrovert first, and then you let the introvert know, I want to hear from you next. That way you're letting the introvert know that you really do value their thoughts. And the introvert is able to start formulating their thoughts before they have to speak, so they will appreciate it as well. And with some introverts, it's really best to, if you're able to, just have a one-on-one meeting with them to get their thoughts, their opinions, their questions. Because even when you do call on them during a meeting, even when you do give them the heads up, a lot of them really prefer those one-on-one meetings rather than speaking in front of a group. The key is to let them know that you do want to hear from them. I've had so many introvert clients tell me that they want to speak up in a meeting, but finally, when they feel like there's an opening for them to speak, things start getting on another subject and they feel like it's too late. The second thing that introverts wish their leaders knew is just because they prefer to work alone doesn't mean they're not a team player. It's true. Introverts do generally prefer to work alone. In fact, that's where we get our best work done without distractions, without having to be in a group setting. However, it doesn't mean that they don't want to contribute to the team or help the rest of the team out. So if there is a team project, let them go off, get their work done, their best work done, and then come back to the team to be able to tweak it, answer questions, get input, and then go off and work on it some more. The third thing introverts wish their leaders knew is that a lot of times they lie awake at night thinking about the things that they said or the things that they did, things that you probably don't even remember or you didn't even notice. Introverts overthink. It's what we do. And it's not about the wonderful things that we said or we did. It's usually about something that we said or we did that we either wish we hadn't have or we wonder how it came out. Did it come across the wrong way, despite our good intentions? I experienced this just a couple of months ago. I was in a meeting with a leader of an organization that I belong to, and I was asked to give my thoughts, my opinions on something, and I did. I shared my thoughts and opinions, and then later, that night, the next day, I wondered, did I go on too long? Why was I talking forever, giving my answer? Was I too negative? Did I say something I shouldn't have? And when I went back and told this leader that, he said, no, I welcomed your response. But this commonly happens to me as well as other introverts. It's all because we overthink. And I actually did a video that I've got above and in the description below about introverts and overthinking. The fourth thing that introverts wish their leaders knew is just because they don't socialize after hours, just because they may not show up at office parties or socialize with you and the team on business trips, it doesn't mean that they don't like you and they don't want to be with you. Now, this is contrary to what most people think, because normally we think, well, if somebody continues to decline an invitation, then it must mean that they really don't care anything about going or about being with the people who are going. But ironically, it can mean that, yes, the introvert really does like you and enjoy being with you. It's just in a social setting, they don't feel as comfortable. They don't have the role that they do in a work setting where they're there to do a job. They actually have to socialize. They actually have to make small talk, maybe reveal some things about themselves, enter into conversation. And that can be uncomfortable for some and draining for most introverts. Think about it. The extroverts, the socialness for them is energizing, and the socialness for the introvert is draining. Now, the fifth one, which is probably the most surprising of all, really only applies to those introverts who are also shy. Remember, introversion and shyness are completely different. However, if an introvert is also shy, meaning they have those feelings of self-consciousness, those feelings of social judgment, then they commonly can also have something called authority anxiety. And what that means is they're sometimes intimidated by their leaders. Yes, even you, even the nice, approachable leader, all because of your position, they may feel intimidated by you because of your authority and your role. What can happen is they can shut down even more and talk even less. And for that reason, try being extra personable, extra down to earth, knowing that because you are in a position of authority, you might be causing some anxiety and some feelings of intimidation without even realizing it. So if you're a leader and you have developed some strategies with the introverts that you lead, or if you have questions about the introverts you lead, please put those in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I hope you will subscribe to my channel.